style. For those of you who don't know me, I am Tiffany. I am Helen's best friend for the past 16 years. She has no choice. And I've been friends with Josh for the past 11 years. And so, if you will, we have a slideshow of their most embarrassing moments coming. Just kidding. I can't do that. Helen has way too much blackmail on me. While I was preparing for this long-awaited speech, I realized that it was pretty hard to summarize my friendship with Helen over the course of the last 16 years. How do I describe someone who's always been there for the entirety of my teenage years, college, and beyond? The best way to describe our friendship can be taken from a quote on a towel Helen had gifted me a while back. God made us best friends because he knew our parents would go crazy if we were sisters. True. For those of you who don't know Helen quite as well, allow me to paint a quick picture of her. Helen is the kind of friend who is most likely to accidentally, physically injure you or herself because that just happens. You might get kicked, you might get punched by accident, it's all out of luck. For example, the first time Helen visited my parents' house, we literally had to put a seatbelt on her because she would lose her balance while sitting. It wasn't standing, she was sitting. And a time in high school where she was just waving around a pencil and just stabs me in the leg. And even this morning, while I was fixing this speech about her clumsiness, she kicked her shin on the bed. Because that's just Helen. But just as many injuries as there have been so much more laughter and loyalty. During our senior year at Rutgers, I had a class assignment where I had to ask my friends for favors until they said no. This was for my negotiations class. And the point of the assignment was to practice asking for what we needed and also to realize that people may surprise you in the things they will say yes to. So I eagerly awaited to test the limits of my friendship with Helen. And I was genuinely curious where she would draw the line. Surely Helen would let me finish my assignment and say no to at least one of the questions. However, much to my surprise, Helen met my eagerness to ask with an equally reciprocated yes to every single request. So panicked that I wouldn't be able to complete my assignment because it was getting late and it was due tomorrow, I began to make the questions more convoluted and ridiculous, so she had to say no. I asked her things like, let's jump into the shower with our clothes on while holding hands, and she was eagerly like, yes, let's do it. And I was like, why? And so I asked next, okay, you have a car, let's drive to Rhode Island, like tonight. We have to go to Rhode Island tonight. She's like, yeah, let's go. When are we packed? And so I completely underestimated your unquestioning, down for the adventure attitude that I eventually had to call it quits myself. Helen is a true ride or die, and I shouldn't have questioned that at all. Helen and I have always thrived in our chaos, getting injured but full of laughter and always having each other's backs. So as you can imagine, a friendship like this is rare to find. So I'm very protective of my Helen and have the highest of standards on the one who is worthy of my precious Helen. Which brings me to Josh Maid. Josh and I quickly became friends at Rutgers because of our love of prayer and wanting to see God move on campus at Rutgers. And we met regularly with our friends running a group called Are United, and I saw his continual dedication to see God move on campus through prayer and leading us with so much humility. And because of this, I've always viewed Josh to be consistently generous and hospitable older brother figure in my life. And I'd also say that he's always been a peaceful man living amidst our chaos from Our United. I'd actually have more to say about Josh, but he has 3 other people speaking for him later, so I'll leave it to them to speak on Josh more. So when Helen told me in Seattle in 2021 that Josh and her were about to start dating before their first date, I was floored. First of all, they didn't go on their first date yet. He only asked her out. But as the saying goes, when you know, you know. And if you don't know, you don't know. But she knew, which was the shocking thing. She knew even before their first date that they would start dating. And I had been looking forward to being that protective best friend and intimidating Helen's next boyfriend. Josh is, the worst thing about Josh is that there's nothing wrong with him. Unfortunately, I was already good friends with you for a decade before you started dating. I don't know how you planned that. It's very unfair. But yeah, you didn't even give me a chance to intimidate you because I respected you so much. You already see right through me. You know I'm all bark, no bite. And he was one of the few guys already pre-approved. Like the TSA, pre-checked, yep. But as soon as Helen told me, I wish I saw it coming sooner because when I see them together, it all makes sense. One way that I've seen how they fit so beautifully together is seeing how they both are very intentional spending quality time with their brothers together. They quickly adopted each other's brothers and took on the older sibling roles as they naturally do. Taking Nathan trick-or-treating in costume, or going to watch movies with Mike and Chris. Helen and Josh love each other's families so much. So beyond their many shared interests, including Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, I think the reason why they fit so well together is their love for God, their pursuit of the people in their lives, and of course each other. In all my years of friendship with each of them, I've never seen Helen or Josh grading this much until they came together. It's clearly evident that they make each other extremely happy and bring out the best in each other. Cheers to Helen and Josh.